Hello, this is another live guide. This time we'll be doing a 5 mass clear on my Demon Hunter. This man's pretty geared, 472. For this I would recommend having 2 sets of gear. Demon Hunters run Twilight Devastation and Infinite Stars very well. Twilight Dev obviously for AoE, Infinite Star single target. I would recommend, if you have access to those, you can run those. I'm going to run a Twilight Dev build for the most of this. If you're having a hard time with damage or you're getting hit a lot, I try and never run over 40 corruption. Lots of stuff already to deal with in there. You don't really want to have the grand illusions coming at you hot when you're already doing a bunch of other things. So I try and always stay under 40. I even run like extra different sets of gear that have much lower corruption. If I was worried about that threshold, don't be afraid to have like other sets of gear for specific situations. However, I do have. I think this guy has max cloak resistance for now, so I can afford to run rank 6 of Twilight Dev with no corruption. But if I did not have that recent +3 upgrade and I was over 40, I would switch out for easier gear. The second set is the same thing but Infinite Stars, and I just wear that for Thrall at the end. So we have our 5 masks on here. These are my talents. I'm going to eat some Ghastly Goulash here. If you don't know what that is, that's a 2% health buff per second. Very useful in horrific visions. It'll stop you from taking a lot of extra damage that you might normally. So highly recommend that, especially if you're getting hit hard. If you're super geared, don't need it. No worries there, especially if you're using your cooldowns well. But neither here nor there. I don't like to worry about it. I like to pull big things and fish for Twilight Dev sometimes, so that might happen. Demon Hunters do extremely well with that. So this is all pretty basic stuff. This one you can pick a couple things. I like to just run this just as long as you're hitting things, you're healing up. I use this Fell Eruption as a single target interrupt stun. Very, very useful. 30-second cooldown. It does use 10 Fury, but if you're picking up your soul fragments, that should be negligible. And I also like to run Demonic. Using I-Beam causes us to go into demon form. Very useful, especially because we are running... Oh, not that, excuse me. We are running Furious Gaze, and that's going to stack up our haste when we go into demon form. So we're going to pop off there. So I have my 5 masks on. I'm not going to put on a rune. I am going to put on a flask. Optional, probably don't need it. I will do a second run after this with no corruption at all. Just basic gear. For now, I'm just going to run this corruption. We should be good to go here. Hopefully I have my 5 masks on. Yep, looks like we're good to go. The corruptions aren't that bad to deal with this week. The Mask of the Pained, that gives us 2 madnesses in each area, are a little less to deal with this week. I don't think you have the one where it pops up in a circle. Also, I find Orgrimmar to be a lot easier than Stormwind. It's pretty upsetting in Stormwind, especially that last boss there. Once we kill the range there, we can fly over, start dealing with this mob. There's a Twilight Dev proc. I try and stand here so the minions walk into it. It moves pretty slowly, so even if the minions are behind you, you can generally pull them into the Twilight Devastation proc. If you're not running Twilight Dev, that's fine as well. Demon Hunters already inherently have great AoE in the form of I-Beam and Annihilation or Death Sweep. Very strong. So I am slowed right now, so I'm going to keep casting spells in the hopes that I can get sped up, getting this crystal. That means I have the 2 crystals for this area. There are 2 per area is my understanding. Put these guys here. I usually do all of these guys together. This shaman is the only range mob in here, so really the only one you have to worry about. You can interrupt them and pull them wherever you want. There's a nice Twilight Dev proc. I want to move out of the way of that shockwave. This is just annoying. I want to interrupt Horrifying Shout, but it was on cooldown. I should have used one of my stuns there. Demon Hunters have access to lots of stuns, either AoE stun, single target Fell Eruption from our talent. Doesn't matter, but that's alright, not the end of the world. I should not have dashed there, I was already moving fast. Green is our bad potion. If you do not know about crystals or potions, crystals give us free, excuse me, I was just looking for a buff there. Crystals give us free corrupted mementos, very useful. there's my speed up buff. I'm going in here, it gives me a 10% health buff. It's not the best on the Demon Hunter, but I do just like to pick up a buff. Maybe something will go horribly wrong and I'll need it, so always good to have a little extra health. I'm pretty sure I could have dodged that stun, but that's okay. You can pull this mob out a bit. Gammon will come with you. I don't know how far, but I know for sure out here. That's a gift of the Titans proc, so we want to try and do as much as we can during that. It is a massive haste and movement speed buff, 60% I believe. I'm going to AoE stun here so I can hold them all in my eye beam. All I'm doing here is really just fishing for a Twilight Dev proc like that, and then I'm trying to move out of the way of either Blade Storm or Shockwave, depending what they're casting at me. I'm slowed again, so I'm going to try and cast whatever spells I can. I'm sped up again. I'll come back for this chest later. We backtrack through this area anyway, so don't have to pick up that chest right now. Every second counts when you have the 5 mask. Your sanity is half, of course. Just pull these mobs. There's only one more thing I want to kill in this area, and that is the scorpion friend right here. After that, we're done in this area. We can eat a kebab here, but the window we have is really down to 375, and we can get to a elite rather quickly in this next area. I'll come back for all the chests in the last area. I should have time after we deal with Rexar, so I'm not worried about them for now. AoE these down. I like to alt right over to this man. I say alt, I meant metamorphosis. Pop over this guy. Surging Fist is just an annoying knockback. It's Decimator coming back that we really have to worry about, so we want to just step to the side of that. And we just don't want to get Surging Fisted into a bad area, like over here or something. Easy peasy. We do not finish this area yet. We continue on to the more difficult area here. This is to abuse our sanity, our plus 200 sanity per, excuse me, our plus 200 sanity per elite. We really want to make the most of that. That's why we go this way. We will backtrack to finish later. I look at these mobs, I'm looking for a chest over there, and that decides whether I want to kill them, otherwise they can be ignored. You can AoE stun these guys, just want to move out of that circle of badness. This mob is over here pulling these guys for some reason. I should have known that and been ready to interrupt that stun. That's okay. It is always the dominators we want to focus and have our interrupts ready for. Either our actual interrupt or an AoE or a stun. AoE stun or single target. Any of those will work easy peasy. He usually casts it when he's around 50% or after he's done 2 casts, I believe, is what seems to be the pattern. I haven't been drinking any potions. I just didn't really spend any time looking for them. I will drink them if I encounter them here. But I'm just cruising through here. I believe green was the bad one. I'm very bad at remembering, which I think means black is a good potion. There are, oh no, I was wrong. But there are add-ons for this. I believe it's Handy Notes has an add-on, a very helpful horrific vision add-on I would highly recommend. It will tell you the areas that the crystals can be located, and it will have a potion spreadsheet for you. So once you go into the first area and see what the bad potion is, then you will... Oh. That was poor dodging of me. I should have used a dash. That's okay. There's a Twilight Dev proc. I'm looking for a crystal here. And I am looking for a crystal around this corner. Right here. So that means they're in the last 2 area. The last 2 are in the last area. They can be in these 2 huts. Excuse me. I like to pull these mobs together. I was a little slow there. I could have pulled them into that Twilight Dev if I was faster. Apparently there is a tornado warning in southern Ontario right now, so that's pretty wild. It's raining pretty heavily, I just noticed. So should be fine. Should be fine. You can pull these burrowing appendages over. I like to just try and stand still for a second, let them all pop up together. They'll only go underground if there's not something in melee range for them to hit. They are a little annoying. When they pop up, they slow you for a few seconds. You can stun them to stop them from going underground, and then you can run away if you're ranged. A little something something.
I need to get closer.
Green is still bad, so I guess red is good. Beautiful. Yeah, anyway, I stopped my thought earlier, but there is a spreadsheet. There are add-ons that will make this easier. You don't have to remember. Yeah, make your lives easier. Easy peasy. So for this guy, just seeing if there's any other potions around. If you want, and you do have the 2 gear options, you could absolutely change into stars, your stars gear for this fight. If not, you're fine either way. Demon Hunters should do plenty of damage. We're just trying to use I-Beam on cooldown and get the most out of that transformation. That's Gift of the Titans. I'll come back for this chest. I want to make the most of this gift proc. This guy, super easy. Just stand here. Move to the side for defiled ground. It's a very thin cone, not at all a problem. Move out of Unleashed Corruption, little circles on the ground, and we stand on top of the boss so we don't have to worry about this Ring of Corruption. There's defiled ground, just slight move to the side, we don't need to move too much. Moving again. That's all there is to it. This boss is much more difficult with split personality, but maybe we will see that in 2 weeks. See what happens. But for now, that guy is not too bad to deal with. We do not take the portal back. We're going to finish off this first area, easy peasy. If I was low on kebab, I would like to come back into this area, and this is a good point to eat a kebab. If you have fine sanity right now, then no worries, just keep on trucking. Oh, that was a nice Twilight Dev proc. I really don't like to deal with the fire in this area. The bouncy fire pops me off the edge all the time. I really don't like it, but you can counter it by gliding as a Demon Hunter. So I like to just glide backwards. I'm gonna interrupt all these guys with a stun. AoE stun here. I'm really just waiting for either a Twilight Dev proc like that or my I-Beam to come back up. Easy peasy. Grab this. This man gives us a buff, so we're going to kill him. I'm having a hard time understanding him. I think if you interrupt the Twisted Lightning is when he casts Hex on you, but I feel like he's also cast it on me if I don't. Either way, easy peasy stuff. That is a very nice buff, 10% haste and movement speed. There's a crystal up here, so we're going to pop up here and grab it really quick. Demon Hunters do have the luxury, many luxuries, but the luxury of dealing with their flames by just gliding. You just hit spacebar again to jump, and it kind of cancels out the bounce from your fire if it's going in a direction you don't want. But you can use it. You can also control your fire movement. It's only procced if you're moving, so if you just, my potion ran out, so I'm sprinting around like this into these guys, that's okay. I'm going to just AoE stun these mobs. I like to interrupt Void Buffet every so often. I need to jump to get rid of these guys. There we go. And that is because it stacks up, 100% increase every time, so it can get a little scary if the fight goes on for a while. That's okay though. Interrupt it again. There's a nice Twilight Dev proc. These Berserkers are annoying because when they hit you, they heal themselves a little bit. Actually, it's quite a decent amount, so the answer is to just either do enough damage to burn through that, or to interrupt them. This guy gives me sanity, so I think I'm okay here. I have been popping Metamorphosis on cooldown. I recommend the same, but I also run the Azurite trait to give me, I think it's Vision of Perfection, I believe is the name, and it's just it's a 3-minute cooldown, I believe, instead of a 5-minute cooldown on Metamorphosis. So here I want to stay still and hold my fire if I can, if a wave's not going to hit me, because I'm going to use it to bounce myself towards my hopelessness. That was sketchy because a wave almost hit me, but all is well that ends well. But yeah, you can use the fire to your advantage. It only procs when you actually move. This is the plus 100 sanity, so I'm going to drink it on the way back. I'm just looking for the last crystal here. It spawns in the back as well, and there's also a chest here. So that's why I'm not drinking that potion. I will drink it on the way back, because it won't be a full 100 yet. Maybe I got both crystals already. Maybe I just missed one. Anyway, that's a debacle. I will take a look. I might backtrack for it. I have a decent amount of sanity. It'll be good to see where the spot is. But I feel like I just straight up must have missed it, or I got it already, and I'm just struggling. The other spot it spawns is here, though. Yeah, it is there. I am a silly man. I should have looked harder. Anyway, I'm just going to deal with these mobs now. Got a lucky Twilight Dev proc. Otherwise, I would just Chaos Nova that mob. There's a Berserker in there, I believe. Just annoying to deal with. Anyway, there we go. You shouldn't have to backtrack like I did. You just use your eyes better than I did. But no worries there. Got it. All's well that ends well. I'm going to go grab this potion and then head out. You have a pretty big sanity window here. As we head right over to the drag, and we'll pretty much instantly fight an elite in there as well, make the most of our elite extermination. However, if you're low, I would recommend walking into the first area, making it so that you're not slowed anymore, so just pop a bunch of spells, whatever you can, so now I'm moving fast, and you would eat a kebab in this area because it's the least punishing sanity loss per second. So you always want to eat in here if you can when you're transitioning, but the window is 375 on the sanity, so we still have over 100. You may fight this mob with this mini boss if you're comfortable. Just got to be aware of its knockup, because this guy just throws down purple circles we want to dodge, and if you by some accident eat the knockup, you're going to be slowed for a few seconds there. It's just pretty annoying to deal with. These guys also eventually cast like a fear that makes you stand in place for a few seconds. It can just be a little annoying. You'll notice most of the time I always pop Immolation Aura right before I go into a fight. That is to make the most out of the free fury it gives me, because I want to try and cast into an I-beam instantly, and that costs fury. If there was a ring in here, you would be able to interact with it and spawn a little dude to fight and kill, and he would give you a buff. I believe it's a 10% crit buff, very useful. You have to talk to Garona, otherwise things will not proceed here. Always focus the Dominator. I have my interrupt ready for this guy. Touch the Abyss. If he didn't die, I would have either interrupted him with your natural interrupt, disrupt, or stun him is also an option. Most things in Horrific Visions can be stunned, which is why I like to run Fell Eruption, because it can come in useful in a pinch. Lots of things can be stunned, especially in Rexar's area. The headbutting bombs that we will get to can be a little annoying, and they can also be stunned, so very nice to deal with. Burrowing Appendages come to mind, very nice to deal with. Usually pull these guys together. I'm going to wait till they're all nearby and the appendage pops up, and then I'm going to I-beam. Well, he took too long, so I just ended up I-beaming anyway. That's okay. I'm going to stun it so it doesn't go down. I got a lucky Twilight Dev proc there. Finishing these guys off here. We can't proceed until we open this door here. Gotta fight Snagna? I can never remember this guy's name. Open this one. There can be a chest in that building, so I will backtrack in a sec. I checked this building as well. Chest can spawn here, crystal can spawn here. The first building that we checked as well, crystal can spawn, and a crystal can spawn in here. Got a nice Twilight Dev proc. Twilight Dev really helps in Horrific Visions, especially if you can afford to pull a bunch of mobs together. It's just borderline broken, even on tanks and stuff, so very strong. Not on all classes though. It's very underwhelming at best on my Paladin, for example, when like Ret Paladin. Just doesn't hit fast enough to make use of it, but Fury Warriors and Demon Hunters, it's very spicy. For this guy, we're just going to pull him over to this log here. Had a great Twilight Death proc there, feels good. Cries of the Void, we're just trying to burn through. If you get a proc there, it's a Twilight Death proc, it's usually very useful. Void Torrent, all we're doing is hiding behind there. Your other option is to like either try and dodge it or run super far away from it. It's obviously better to just stand here, especially because if you have an I-beam up, you can just beam them through, get a lucky Tev proc, and that's the end of the fight. You can also throw your glaive and stuff. So I'm looking for potions here. I'm not really drinking any potions. This is where a crystal can spawn. I feel like I missed a crystal, but maybe I'm being silly.
We should be safe now, champion.
That's okay. I'm not too worried about the crystals at this point, but I do recommend having them all, and I do recommend the Handy Notes Horrific Vision add-on. That will tell you exactly where the crystals are as well. I think that it might even track. I'm not sure if it's the same add-on, but I know there's an add-on that also tracks crystals per area and stuff like that on your UI. So they're very helpful add-ons out there. If you don't want to have to remember stuff like that. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on them, so I just kind of go for it, but obviously not, because I feel like I missed a crystal in that area, and I backtracked on the one before that. But no worries there. I like to pull both these mobs together and just kind of kite them into this tunnel here. I know that Misha's going to get 200 sanity, but I rarely am less than I'm rarely at 375 sanity or less. So I like to try and make the most of it by like dealing with both mobs at once kind of thing. I'll only kill this mob if there's a chest here. If I do, I'm focusing the Storm Leader there. Mount up here. You don't have to mount up. Demon Hunters can fly across or whatever, but I just like to. Interrupt Venom Bolt. This guy can be stunned. He can be feared, I believe. Try and keep him interrupted. I used my Disrupt there to start, then I used the AoE Fell Nova, and then I used Fell Eruption. Crystal can spawn there. I might have even missed one at the start. This is a debacle. Anyway, that's okay. For this guy, you can eat the breath. It's the toxic volley that needs to be dodged, those circles on the ground. I was dangerously close to pulling that mob, which can be troublesome. The Storm Leaders do stun you, be aware. The punishment for not dodging the breath, which is like a sideways dash like that, still didn't do it there, is the stacking poison. For these guys, I try and focus the Storm Leader. You can interrupt this Bone Crusher, but I just position myself so that his annoying headbutt he's going to do isn't going to put me anywhere, it just knocks me into these eggs and nothing happens. I pop Fade here because this is spooky. Just going to AoE these down. The reason I focus the Storm Leader is that 2-second stun there we just experienced. Headbutt can be cancelled if you get knocked down the hill. Getting knocked down the hill is fine. I just do not want to get knocked into this dark zone behind me, up here, or into Rexar before I am ready. That can be a run-ending situation. Can be a big unlucky. I feel like I missed one, so after I kill Rexar, I will backtrack for that other crystal. I feel like I didn't look for it hard enough. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I have 3 orbs, so I'm going to pop one here. I pull Rexar right away. We want to make the most of this orb. While the orb is up, any sanity you lose, you're not going to lose anyway. So you can get a bit out of it here. I unfortunately did pop both of these guys at once, so I interrupted one. Now I'm in a very bad spot because all of these guys are up and I do not have my AoE stun. Now it's off cooldown, but instead I used Metamorphosis to AoE stun them. I didn't want to lose all that sanity, just dodge these guys on the ground. Easy peasy. When I'm moving left and right, what that is using Q and E for strafe. Highly recommend. It'll let you continue to face whatever mob you're hitting. You can also like strafe abuse to like run away from things but continue to hit them. It's very powerful. Unfortunately, to backtrack, I am going to have to kill this mob and these things that spawn on the bridge. This is why we don't go this way, because there's just a lot of annoyingness to deal with. It's not that bad, but it's just easier to skip it, obviously. So this is where I feel like I missed the first crystal, but it's not here anyway. This is a debacle. Anyway, I'm just going to walk back in shame like I deserve to. So we're done all the areas now, we're just going back to Thrall. Would recommend switching to stars at this point if you haven't. I always try and have an orb for this fight as well. If you don't, it's doable, but I like to take my time in this area, cruise around and stuff. So I think I got the crystals in this area. It doesn't matter, as long as I get 8 or more, I'm generally happy with my crystals. We just go talk to this friend over here. 9 crystals, not bad. Still missed one, that's okay. Make sure you remember to grab the chest here. It hurts to talk about. I threw away thousands of mementos for a few months there, not actually picking that chest up, so big rip. I'm going to pick up these chests that I skipped earlier. I think I have all of them. Just going to do a quick double check. I have time. Nothing to worry about there. Maybe I'll even cut this. Nope. Easy peasy. So we're going to switch into our stars gear before I forget. I forgot last time. It doesn't matter that much, it's just a little less damage. We have our orb. Sneak into this corner over here. We like to pop it right on the wall because when the boars charge us, very annoying. If I did not have this orb to sit in, what I would do instead would be I would imprison one of the boars, focus the other one. Focus the one that's not imprisoned, obviously, and then I would just deal with the one that was imprisoned, and then I would deal with Thrall. But because I have the orbs, I can just stand in them, and any sanity I lose is regained, so I'm not worried about that at all. All I'm doing is dodging this defiled ground. You can stand in this if it's possible, but it's not always possible in this the power circle. I'm not going to be able to pop this, unfortunately. That's okay. As long as you're dodging the defiled ground and stuff. I want to try and hold him to the outside of the room here. Oh, I should pop Metamorphosis, of course. Always use your cooldowns, silly. I want to always try and face the defiled ground to the outside of the room. The reason is I don't want to run out of real estate. It leaves poop on the ground, and it's a thin line, but it does last for quite a while. So all I do is have him poop, stand right beside it, rinse and repeat. Just gonna do it again. Stand to the side. I just walk to the side with Q, a little straight to the side. It's a thin cone. Try and keep it to the outside. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. It will fade eventually, but no worries there. And that's all there is to it. I will do another run after with no corruption at all, because I do feel that Twilight Dev and Infinite Stars makes it like super easy, and it's not really a demonstration of how like the mechanics you need to do and stuff. But anyway, hope you learned something and it was fun, and I'll see you later. Bye.